Ayo.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we would like to present our presentations about book review from Umer Chapra that's gonna talk about towards a just monetary systems. With me, Adinda Salsabila Zauzahuda, and also
Me, Shafira Anissa.
okay. So we would like to discuss about four discussion. First is about overview. It's gonna talk about the whole comprehensive of the book. Second is author biography, or who is actually of M. Umar Chapra it is. Third is evaluation. What are the advantages and disadvantage? And the last is conclusions. The true simple point offered by the book. So, overview. This study of the goals, nature, and operations of the monetary system of Islam, which has justice as one of its most indispensable objectives. Okay. The most questions. Has Islam really prohibited interest? And if so, what is the purpose behind it? And second is, can an economy run without interest? And last is, what will be impact on research allocations, saving, and capital formations, economic stability, and growth? He saw the rationale behind the prohibition of interest and the strength a purely equity-based Islamic economy. He also indicated the problems and gave a realistic proposal for solving them. He also said that the allocations of interest is not the only value of Islam, and unless it is political institution of Islam countries, their economies cannot be transformed, and socioeconomics just as well as a whole range of other important goals of Islam cannot be realized, called as the gradual transformations. Okay, the elaboration of change that may be an operation of commercial central banks is divided into two parts. The first is the auxiliary institution, which must be established, and the last is the new tools of monetary policy that must be developed to enable to Islamic money and banking system in function effectively. Reviewing concepts, chapter 1 shows some of the important goals of Islam that need to be realized in and through money and banking system to be designed for Muslim countries and the major elements of the Islamic strategy of the resolution of the realization of the goals. And chapter 2 is discuss the nature of riba in the light of Quran, teaching, al-hadith, and also fiqh literature. Chapter 3 and 5 show the alternative to riba and the reforms that must be instituted in an Islam country in addition to the elaboration of riba to help realize an objective in Islam. Chapter 5 evaluates the major objective raised against the abolitions of riba, and in the process shows the rationale behind the important injunctions of Islam in the light of the reform measure indicated in chapter 4. And the chapter 6 provides the institutional settings which through it may specifically appear to similar to the conventional framework is in essence radically different in the scope and responsibility. And in the chapter 7 discuss the management of monetary policy in the new settings. Author biography. Chapter 8 evaluate the proposed program in the light of the goals discussed in this chapter 1, and chapter 9, the concluding chapter, gives some tentative suggestion for the gradual transformation of the money and banking framework in Muslim countries from the present setting to the suggestion for realizing the goals of Islam. Author biography of Umar Chapra researched as a research advisor at the Islam Research and Training Institute in IRTE of the Islamic Development Banking or IDB. He has made seminal contribution to Islam economics and finance over more than 3 decades. He has authored 6 books and monograph and more than 100 papers and books review. Some of his book, monograph, and paper have been translated into a number of languages, including Arabic, Bangla, French, Indonesian, Japanese, Malay, Persian, Polish, Spanish, Turkish, and also Urdu. He has received a number of awards, including the Islamic Development Bank Award for Islamic Economics and the King Faisal International Award for Islamic Studies, both in 1989. His most outstanding contribution has been the 4 books indicated below. First is Towards a Just Monetary System on 85, Islamic and the Economic Challenge on 92, The Future of Economics in Islamic Perspective on 2000, and the last is Muslim Civilization, The Cause of Decline on the Need for Reform on 2008. Sorry, Shafira, you still mute.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue about the next chapter. It's about evaluation. We're gonna discuss about the advantage and its disadvantage. So the advantage of the books is his talk. There are 3 about the ideas, his concern, and also his outcome. In the idea side, his thinking are including the concept of falah, halal toyibah, and Muslim economic challenges, monetary policy, and Islamic financial institution, which strike out to the central bank and its policies, and the concept of welfare state according to Islam. While his concern is like the other Muslim economists, Umar Chapra hammered at moral as the way of reaching fair and healthy economy. And the outcome is because of his ability to mix and match between the Western economic concept with Islamic values made him to be stand in the general way. So the advantage as well, the content of the book is very clear and very thorough in explaining every lesson, like how the monetary economic system works. It explains in great detail about the essentially differ from conventional interest banking system. So there are also many ideas and principles offered by the Umar Chapra for the current monetary economic system about how the Islamic monetary economic works well. So the content of the book is very clear and very thorough in explaining every lesson. So in this advantage, because of his tolerance of Western concept, his talks are not freely from the Western economic concept, but is still in process to gain the better concept of Islamic concept. So because of his contribution also that generally in macroeconomics, so it less attention for the microeconomic side. So if the disadvantage as well, the selecting words in the book is less easy for students to understand because most of the words are unfamiliar and the writing format also has to be evaluated. So here are the conclusion. As today monetary system that could not be freely from an interest will gradually break up the chain of the economic, especially for the financial system. At last, it will impact to the social, wide economic scope as well and the life of the nation itself. So here are the important lists to pay attention for today's. The first is that Islam is widely proposes its value for a better economic system to meet the needs of modern society and state. Gradually hope to achieve the design of monetary and banking system to evolve within its own value standard based on Islamic concept. So and the last is focus on these lines which monetary and banking system play an important role to contribute in state welfare. So as Umar Chapra said, that realizing the goals for the better system based on Islamic concept. Every society and system is dominated by its own worldview, which is based on a set of implicit or explicit assumptions about the origin of the universe and the nature of the human life. It must also have an effective way of bringing about the socio-economic restructuring to enable a prompt transfer of resource from one use to another until the most efficient and equitable allocation and distribution have been attained. So unless the worldview and the strategy of a system are in harmony with its professed goal, the goals cannot be actualized. So maybe that's all from us. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
See you.
See you.